Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to know what are cardinal rules. Second, why cardinal rules are necessary in cyber forensic world. Next, you will also know what procedures to follow, and finally you will know what precautions to take. Now, the introduction. The role of computer forensic professional is to collect evidence from a suspect's computer and conduct systematic approach to determine whether or not the suspect committed a crime or not. Before the investigator works on the case, certain rules and procedure must be followed. The cardinal rules have been evolved to facilitate a forensically sound examination of computer media and enable a forensic professional to testify in the court in respect of their handling a particular piece of evidence. If appropriate forensic tools and techniques are applied, same results are obtained irrespective of the fact whose examines the media or which specific tools and techniques are employed. Perhaps the most challenging of all aspects of computer crime scene processing is the identification of potential evidence external to the computer itself. Oftentimes, investigators, in their haste to identify evidence residing on a suspect drive, will overlook trace evidence and other forms of information which may be critical to a successful investigation. The investigation of computer related crime requires the same level of preparation and evaluation as do traditional ones. They are neither more intensive nor more demanding on average than non-technological investigations. They simply require different skills on the part of investigators. As such, the investigative process should mirror conventional methods. Careful handling of evidence, attention to detail, and professionalism should remain paramount considerations, and the unexpected should be expected in all cases. Every investigation, for example, should begin with the development of a plan to accomplish the mission at hand, as well as to secure personnel and evidence. Minimal requirements of such plans should include approaching and securing the crime scene, documentation of scene activities, discovery and identification of potential evidence, the collection and retrieval of such material, and finally the processing or analysis of potential evidence. Although many departments lack sufficient resources to adequately staff full-time computer crimes units, traditional procedures for criminal investigations may be utilized by supervisory personnel in high-tech cases to ensure proper evidence collection and analysis. Investigations involving computer-related evidence should be approached in much the same manner as traditional investigations. Irrespective of case characteristics, the success of criminal investigations and subsequent prosecutions largely hinges upon both pre-search activities, which means warrant preparation, intelligence gathering, assembling an execution team, planning the search, and assigning responsibilities, and on scene processing such as execution of the warrant, securing the scene, evidence collection and preservation, and the transportation of evidence. Proper planning in advance ensures the successful collection of relevant evidence. Traditionally, investigations involving computer related evidence were often difficult due to a lack of qualified personnel and an absence of forensic laboratories. Untrained officers would routinely overlook, contaminate, or destroy potentially critical evidence. As the discipline of computer forensic evolves, such situations have diminished, but they have not been completely eliminated. The establishment of forensic laboratories, the assignment of specific personnel, and the partnering with criminal experts, I repeat, with civilian experts should continue to reduce such occurrences. In fact, careful planning and meticulously oversight should provide all departments with a platform for successful prosecution. Now, the cardinal rules of cyber forensic. While many investigations focus primarily on evidence stored on a suspect computer system, others concentrate exclusively on a variety of storage media, and still others include a combination of both. In all cases, automated or manual recovery efforts are appropriate. Computer based digital evidence is, by its very nature, fragile. It can be altered, damaged, or destroyed by improper handling or improper examination. For this reason, specific precautions should be taken to document, collect, preserve, and examine this type of evidence. Failure to do so may render it unusable or lead to an inaccurate conclusion. There are basically 5 cardinal rules to be followed systematically by cyber forensic examiners. First is never mishandle the evidence. Second, never work on the original evidence. Third, never trust the subject's operating system. Fourth, document everything. And fifth, the results should be repeatable and verifiable by a third party. Never mishandle the evidence. The first cardinal rule says to preserve the evidence, which means that the evidence should not be tampered with or contaminated. Secure collection of evidence is important to guarantee the evidential integrity and security of information. The best approach for this method is to use disk imaging tool. Choosing and using the right imaging tool is very important in cyber forensic investigations. Now, disk imaging tool top up level requirement. The tool shall make a bit stream duplicate or an image of an original disk or partition on fixed or removable media. Next, the tool shall not alter the original disk. Next, the tool shall be able to verify the integrity of a disk image file. Next, the tool shall log I/O errors. Next, the tool should provide good documentation. Now, the importance of imaging. To preserve the original evidence, a forensic copy or imaging of the original data is done using specialized software and write blockers so that integrity of evidence is not altered. The analysis is done now on forensic copy of evidence. The original evidence is to be preserved into safe custody. Now, the chain of custody. To document the evidence, like who recovered the evidence and when, and who possessed it, and when a chain of evidence form is generated and filled, which helps the examiner to document what has and has not been done with both the original evidence and the forensic copies of the evidence. Now, never work on the original evidence. The second cardinal rule says not to work on the original evidence as the digital evidence is very fragile in nature. To maintain the integrity of the digital evidence and any unknowing alterations, preserve the original evidence in its pristine condition. Now, pros and cons of using original evidence. It is easier to work on the original evidence and the cost related to it is also low. If analyzed directly, the digital evidence will lose its integrity, authenticity, and will not be admissible in any court. Now, never trust the subject's operating system. Computer criminal can modify the routine operating system commands to perform destructive commands. Using the suspect's operating system could easily destroy data with just a few keystrokes. When the subject computer starts booting to a hard disk, overwrites and changes evidentiary data. To make sure that data is not altered, we need to monitor the subject's computer during initial bootstrap to identify the correct key to use assess the CMO's setup. Now, document everything. To document the evidence, chain of evidence form is created. It serves the following functions. First is it identifies the evidence. Next, a legal authority copy should be obtained. Next, a chain of custody including initial count of evidence to be examined. Next point is information regarding the packaging and condition of the evidence upon receipt by the examiner. Next, list the dates and times the evidence was handled. Next point is the documentation should be preserved accordingly to the examiner's agency policy. Now, the results should be repeatable and verifiable by a third party. The fifth cardinal rule says that the analysis done on the evidence should be completely audited by the third party. To establish the integrity of information, a cryptographic hash value such as MD5 or SHA-1 are calculated so that it can be proven to our courts. Chain of custody forms are created if evidence are used in courts or verified by any third party. The same process can be conducted and verified by any expert or person. Now, the summary. The cardinal rules have been evolved to facilitate a forensically sound examination of computer media and enable a forensic professional to testify in the court in respect of the handling a particular piece of evidence. Computer-based digital evidence is by its very nature fragile. It can be altered, damaged, or destroyed by improper handling or improper examination. For this reason, special precautions should be taken to document, collect, preserve, and examine this type of evidence. Recognizing the fragile nature of the digital data, major task is to preserve the evidence against accidental or intentional manipulation. Stick to the methodology and cardinal rules of the computer forensics, then perform analysis and presentations of the evidence so that the prime objective of computer forensics is met and the evidence should be accepted by the court of law. Every investigation should begin with the development of a plan to accomplish the mission at hand, as well as to secure personal and evidence. Investigations involving computer-related evidence should be approached in much the same manner as traditional investigations. Thank you.